what's more important, a game being a jack of all trades or a master of one? Usually it's the one that can do it all. It's got the addictive gameplay, the banger soundtrack, immersive art and world, the whole shebang. This is Godbreakers, a brand new action roguelike. It's not the prettiest game you'll see in 2025. The sound and music aren't anything to write home about. Its world and story can't fully commit to being serious or goofy throughout, but god dang it, this really is a fun time. Right away, Godbreakers put me into a state of confusion, which is normal for tutorials, okay? But it wasn't the gameplay that was melting my brain, but the first choice text font and lackluster UI, especially at the main menu or any of the settings menus. It looks a little cheap and uninspired, like the stuff you see in games that have AI voiceover that were fed lines full of spelling errors, that kind of vibe.
We can extend your contract for several more years.
To me, that's a subtle red flag, and I've learned to pick up on them after playing so many indie games over the years, which kind of led to my excitement being drained almost instantly. I have learned recently not to judge a book by its cover, so I soldiered on through the tutorial, and I'm glad I did. Mechanically, this game is fantastic. The combat focuses almost exclusively on melee brawls, with very few ranged attacks available to the player. You got 6 different archetypes to choose from, and they each have different abilities that you can equip. The combat is simple but fluid. Bash and smash. Maybe incorporate some combos while you're at it. Those archetypes I was talking about are characters, and it doesn't take long to unlock most of them. In fact, it doesn't take long to beat this game in general. There's only 6 planets, which are essentially the levels of the game, and one of those is a final showdown that just features a boss. You essentially only play through 3 full levels before you have the conclusion of a run, and it'll take roughly 15 minutes to beat a planet if you know what you're doing and you're looking around for loot and everything. Now, I'm of the belief that a roguelite or a roguelike should have an endless mode before it's considered a complete package. I just think that's what really brings it all together. That's not to say every single one has to have that, I just think it makes the experience better and it can actually pad out the playtime. The best way to truly embrace chaos is by melting your PC because there's too many enemies and particles 3 hours into a run. All the best goated roguelikes get you looking like a gremlin hunched over your keyboard with glossy eyes at 4 a.m. And when the run finally ends, you're too tired to hate yourself for your life choices. So beating a run in 45 minutes or so is not ideal for your boy. In Godbreakers, the runs are all standard boilerplate for the genre. You run through rooms full of enemies, helping you gear up for the boss rooms, to which there are 2 in every area. Some other staples of the genre, like parkour challenges, merchants, chests, and of course meta progression, are all available. Oh, and there's also a couple of quick heals. You can use them by pressing C on PC. I'm not sure what it is for console. While you're out on your runs, you'll find yourself beating challenges leading to unlocks at the main hub, like augments, new characters, and whatever the fuck this thing is. That smile, that damn smile, is a reminder that my feelings towards the art style, music, and story are all subjective. I mean, everything in this video is subjective, except for the fact that a grizzly bear would solo a gorilla in a 1v1, but that's irrelevant. Please stay on topic, guys. How about the story of Godbreakers? Does it suck? I don't know. I don't play games like this for the plot. I play for the fantasy, the power fantasy. I'll tell you what does suck though, and no, not the segue, but Kirby sucks. That little Eldritch 4 monster is exactly who popped into my head when I heard about the titular Godbreak system. After an enemy reaches a certain damage amount, you can Godbreak them if you have enough energy. It allows you to obtain a one-time use of the power associated with them. Thankfully, I don't think it's enough to get Nintendo bloodthirsty, but maybe. That Pal World lawsuit was horseshit. Just like enslaving monsters to fight your battles, Kirby's power stealing is a great idea that I'm surprised more games don't use. Probably everyone's just afraid of Nintendo and it just remains an untapped market. Till Godbreakers, of course. And it works really well here. It can make you feel like a badass if you time it perfectly. You could even use it to save your life at times by waiting out an attack and then exploding once it's finished. Not just that, but all of the combo systems and everything they've included make the fights feel very rewarding. It's just very intuitive and it starts to click after only a couple of levels. Building your kit on a run is also seamless. You can swap out abilities on the fly without having to think too much, making the perfect build easier to craft up in the old noodle. And with how easy it is to unlock all the archetypes, it shouldn't take you too long at all to figure out your ideal method of man stopping. I'm a big stick main myself. When it comes to finding your favorite loadout, there doesn't seem to be a lot of variety in the items or essence or fragments fragments, or whatever the fuck it's called. After 4 or 5 runs, it feels like you've seen most of what the game has to offer for those power-ups. There is a codex to double-check your findings, though. If the runtime for an average playthrough is decently short, the bosses have to be fun, right? Rest easy, old boy, the boss fights are pretty good. There's a solid mix of parkour and spongy smashing with each of them, and they did a good job with their move variety, as they don't often spam you with the same moves over and over, outside of the final boss on occasion. He's a culmination of all the bosses, which makes for a really fun fight. Speaking of other great ideas, the mechanic of canceling an attack by dashing is amazing, and I think other beat-em-up or hack-and-slash games should have something similar. It just adds to how smooth the gameplay is, even if you happen to make a little oopsie-daisies. Hey pal, everybody makes mistakes sometimes. It happens. The world of this game is really shallow, which I think hurts the replayability. It's hard to differentiate levels on a planet, which unfortunately makes runs feel very samey. At least once you finish the boss of a planet, you'll be given a new quest that will help you to unlock something while giving you another objective to do when you run it back. When it comes to indie games, I think it's best to give the devs some leniency, especially when the game's in early access, and especially if it's affordable. Wait. What the fuck? I mean, it's great to see a game complete right off the bat, but $30 for 6 planets? And only a handful of enemies and characters to play around with? That's pretty steep, fellas. In my opinion, I think somewhere in the $10 to $15 range is more appropriate for the package that you're getting. Granted, I did do most of my playthrough before the game released, so I don't know how the multiplayer is.
Remember that you don't have to fight this alone.
Apparently it's a 4-player co-op, and also there might not be any matchmaking, so I'm not sure how I'd even really be able to try it. The first rule of making a video game is making it fun, and all of that comes down to the core mechanics, which are pretty fucking great in Godbreakers. Everything else is pretty mid, in my opinion. It comes down to personal taste, obviously. I wish they would have leaned into the weirder stuff more when it comes to the art style, like the twin bosses on the 3rd planet. They looked awesome. Obviously, the UI isn't that important, and to be honest, in a roguelike, neither is the story. So it gets a pass for being absurd and ultra serious all at the same time, just everywhere tonally. For some homies, this could be the complete package. No changes, no notes. I really hope that is the case, because these dudes have a solid foundation here, and I think some free content updates could really round Godbreakers out. Make it worth the $30 from you and each of your buddies. Now I want to talk about some special buddies that I have. That's right, the channel members. These lovely individuals go out of their way every month to give my family and I some extra support, and they're so amazing for doing that. They don't have to do that, but they do it anyways. And aren't they just the best looking bunch? Oh my god, I love them. I hope the developers to the sky aren't upset with me. Obviously, this is all subjective. I'm not going to pretend like a game is great because some dev gave me a key. That's not what's important to me. I will tell the truth, and that is the gameplay is awesome. So, I mean, that's exactly what I did. I'm just stating, I'm just like recapping, but also asking for them not to be too pissed, all right? It's constructive. You guys can make it better. You just add a bunch of stuff. It's mostly that. Everything else is whatever. I'll get used to the art. Maybe focus on some better helmets and stuff, though, because most of them are really weird. I don't know, like gross looking to me. I'm sorry.